Every decade has a business trend that changes everything. In the 1990s, it was globalization. In the 2000s, it was the rise of the internet. In the 2010s, it was the smartphone revolution and the dominance of digital platforms. In the early 2020s, artificial intelligence captured the world's attention. But as we move deeper into the decade, another trend is beginning to emerge. It's not as flashy as AI. It doesn't generate the same headlines, and it isn't receiving the same level of public attention. Yet it may end up defining the future of business more than anything else. That trend is adaptability, the ability of a business to change quickly, respond to uncertainty, and operate successfully in an environment that never stops evolving. For years, companies were rewarded for scale. The biggest companies often won. The companies with the most resources had the greatest advantage. Size created power, reach created influence, and growth became the ultimate goal. But today's business environment is different. The world is changing faster than ever before. Consumer preferences shift rapidly. Technology evolves constantly. New competitors appear unexpectedly. Economic conditions change quickly. And entire industries can be disrupted in just a few years. In this environment, adaptability is becoming more valuable than predictability. Businesses are discovering that the ability to respond to change may matter more than the ability to forecast it. And that realization is reshaping corporate strategy across America. One reason adaptability is becoming so important is because certainty is disappearing. For decades, companies built long-term plans around relatively stable assumptions. Executives could make forecasts years into the future with reasonable confidence. Today, that confidence is harder to find. Consumer behavior can change almost overnight. Technology can create entirely new markets or eliminate existing ones. Economic conditions can shift rapidly. As a result, businesses are finding that rigid strategies often struggle in a fast-moving world. The companies that succeed are increasingly the ones that can adjust quickly when circumstances change. Another reason this trend matters is the growing influence of technology. Artificial intelligence is transforming industries. Automation is changing workflows. Digital tools are reshaping customer expectations. The pace of innovation continues to accelerate. Businesses know that technology will continue creating opportunities, but they also know it will continue creating disruption. No company can predict every technological breakthrough. No executive can foresee every market shift. What businesses can do is build organizations capable of adapting when those changes occur. That's why flexibility is becoming a competitive advantage. Many companies are restructuring operations to become more agile. They're simplifying decision-making, reducing unnecessary complexity, and creating systems that allow them to respond faster. These changes may not generate headlines, but they are happening across industries. The goal is no longer just growth. The goal is growth combined with adaptability. Consumer behavior is another major reason this trend could define the next decade. Today's consumers are different from previous generations. They have more choices, more information, and higher expectations. Brand loyalty is harder to maintain. Consumer preferences evolve faster. What customers want today may not be what they want tomorrow. Businesses understand this reality. That's why companies are investing heavily in data, customer insights, and personalization. They're trying to stay closer to changing consumer needs. Because in a rapidly evolving marketplace, the businesses that adapt fastest often gain the greatest advantage. The workplace is changing too. Employees are developing new expectations. Skills requirements are evolving. Technology is changing the nature of work itself. Businesses can no longer assume that workforce strategies will remain effective indefinitely. Organizations must continuously learn and evolve. They must train employees differently, develop leaders differently, and build cultures that support change. Adaptability isn't just becoming a business strategy, it's becoming a workforce strategy as well. Another reason adaptability could define the next decade is because resilience is becoming increasingly valuable. For years, efficiency dominated corporate thinking. Businesses optimized operations to maximize output and minimize costs. But recent disruptions revealed a weakness in that approach. Highly efficient systems are not always highly resilient. When unexpected events occur, flexibility often matters more than optimization. As a result, businesses are rethinking how they operate. They're building backup plans, diversifying suppliers, strengthening financial positions, and creating greater operational flexibility. These decisions are all connected to the same idea: adaptability, the ability to respond effectively when conditions change. Perhaps the most important reason this trend matters is because uncertainty itself appears to be becoming permanent. Businesses once viewed uncertainty as temporary, something that would eventually disappear. Today, many executives see it differently. They view uncertainty as a normal part of the business environment, a condition that must be managed rather than avoided. That mindset changes everything. Companies stop searching for perfect predictions. Instead, they focus on preparation. They build flexible strategies, create multiple contingency plans, and develop systems capable of responding to different outcomes. This shift is already influencing investment decisions, hiring plans, technology strategies, and long-term business models. The companies leading the next decade may not be the ones making the boldest predictions. They may be the ones building the greatest flexibility, the ones creating resilient organizations, the ones capable of adapting to whatever comes next. Because the future is unlikely to become simpler. Technology will continue evolving, consumer expectations will continue changing, competition will continue intensifying, and businesses will continue facing unexpected challenges. In that environment, adaptability may become the most valuable asset a company can possess. So what is the business trend that could define the next decade? It's not a specific technology, it's not a single industry, and it's not one economic event. It's the growing realization that success belongs to companies that can evolve, companies that can adjust, companies that can learn, and companies that can adapt faster than the world around them changes. That trend is already spreading across corporate America. And over the next 10 years, it may reshape business more than anyone realizes. Because in a world defined by constant change, adaptability isn't just an advantage anymore, it's becoming a requirement.